Ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
This is CoreTV News of the Hour with Nifemi Oguntoye. The People's Democratic Party has cleared former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nuhu Rabadu, to seek the party's ticket for the October 11 governorship election. Also cleared to contest at the PDP primaries are Uba Mara and Marcos Gendiri. The three politicians were former members of the All Progressives Congress who had sought a waiver to be allowed to contest for the PDP ticket. In all, 14 aspirants were cleared by PDP to participate in the September 6 party primaries. Meanwhile, the Kwara State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has alleged a display of gunpowder by both youth and elders of the ruling All Progressives Congress in Ajasheko, Irekwadun local government area of Kwara State. In a statement by the Kwara PDP Publicity Secretary Rex Olawoye, the party implored the Kwara State Police Command to quickly stop the tide of violence that is now gradually enveloping parts of the state as a result of party over the second-term ambition of the incumbent governor, Abdul Fattah Ahmed. According to the PDP Publicity Secretary, Fraka in Ajasheko has only vindicated the PDP's position that the leadership of the Kwara APC are only interested in retaining power at all cost and at the detriment of the peace and tranquility of the state. He stated that newspaper reports indicated that the bloody fracas was caused by aggrieved Kwara South APC youth leaders who stormed the venue of a meeting where the second-term bid of the governor was being perfected and beat up their party elders, black and blue. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has promised to take necessary steps and actions that will ensure equity in delineation of wards and creation of additional polling units by the State Independent Electoral Commission, INEC. Last year, Fashola made this known while receiving the reports and investigation on delineation of wards and creation of additional polling units from the chairman of the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, Abdul Fattah Adeyinka. The LASEC boss explained that the state will further involve citizens in all parts of Lagos to participate in the process of electing their representatives.
Is a continuing work in progress, and so new towns, new communities spring up, sometimes in what used to be forests. Areas that used to be rural become rapidly urbanized. People move there. And so it is not just enough to build roads, to build schools, to build hospitals there. It is also important to ensure that those people who have moved into new communities, who have built new estates, have an opportunity to participate in how decisions affecting their lives are taken. And this is the guarantee of participatory democracy in our state.
For its part, the LASEC boss says the report is the result of a Kwara, the result is a result of a stakeholders forum held in 2010, which was later aborted for the 2011 general elections.
One is to go in the log of this exercise, while the other one is to stay in the office, just take biro and pen and paper. How many words do we have now? Then we start delineating. No, we believe we should go into the field and base our report on empirical facts, which is what we have done.
The United States has assured Nigeria of support towards a violence-free general election in 2015. American Ambassador to Nigeria James Entwistle discussed this during a visit to the leadership of the All Progressives Congress in Abuja. He expressed concern over the security of electorate in the Northeast as the general elections draw close. Entwistle says Nigeria can have a peaceful election if politicians agree to work together.
Things I'm doing, as you've seen, I'm talking constantly about the importance of nonviolence before, during, and after the elections, calling on all politicians to take the pledge ahead of time to guarantee the voters that they will not participate in violence. I think that's very, very important. I know that the media joins me in this, and I think there's a big role for all of you in the media. If a politician comes and he wants to be on your radio station or your TV station, make him take the nonviolence pledge if he wants to use your station. That's something very, very important that the media can do. So my country stands for elections and democracy around the world, and we're doing everything we can to help here. So far, everything I see is the plan is to conduct the elections everywhere in the country, but that's something that I think we all have to work for, but fully understanding that in certain parts of the country, the security situation right now is a bit delicate. But I think we have to work towards that. Related to that in the Northeast, it's not just whether you can run the elections in those states, it's what happens to all of the voters who have been displaced by the violence. And on election day, if they're not at home and they're not in their polling place, will they be able to vote?
It's his first visit here. We are a party that is 1 year old, and I suppose it was quite right for him to come to make our acquaintance, to familiarize himself with us, our thinking, how we view the various situations as they are developing in the country, our attitude and reactions to the elections that have been held, our expectations for the elections that are to come, and so on and so forth. And it was a very useful discussion.
You're watching CoreTV News on the hour. More stories coming up shortly after this break. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
Nigeria now generates 4,500 megawatts of electricity. Minister of Power Chinedu Nebo disclosed this at the end of a meeting on power chaired by Vice President Namadi Sambo at the presidential villa. He told State House correspondents that gas supplies are now reaching the power plants, adding that Nigerians should expect more stable power by October.
New gas we're expecting, we have them trickling in right now, so that part of the shortfalls we've had in production up to this time, we hope that by beginning of October, we will see a much better stabilization of the entire power delivery system in the country. So first, I would say we rejoice that for the first time in a long time, we've been averaging over 4,500 megawatts when we include nearly 300 megawatts of spinning reserve, which is always put there to make sure that the reliability and stability of the grid is ensured at all times. So we are really moving forward. It may not be as rapidly as Nigerians expect, but it's important to let us know and everybody know that indeed we are advancing, we are making progress, we will continue to make progress.
Maybe from Madam, what is...
In a related issue, the Nigeria government has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Brazilian power company, Benco, as part of efforts to ensure adequate and quality power supply in Nigeria. The deal, worth over $800 million, is meant to facilitate the construction of a power plant in Bayelsa State.
of Brazil and the Nigerian government signed a memorandum of understanding, and that memorandum of understanding was aimed at bringing into Nigeria Electrobras to help Nigeria develop as much as 10,000 megawatts of power for our people. What we are seeing today is the very first takeoff of implementation of that memorandum of understanding, bringing Benko Enagia to work with the Federal Ministry of Power for their plant.
Turbines that runs on gas, added of another 2 turbines that will run on vapor, that will be generated from the exhaust gas of the gas turbines. So that's the power module of the power plant that we're going to be implementing. We have all the right infrastructure that we need, because we also need a lot of water to run through these turbines.
You have to stand up and do it.
The National Boundary Commission is to carry out all necessary surveys with a view to resolving the lingering dispute between Kogi and Anambra states. This was the outcome of a meeting presided over by Vice President Namata Sambo in Abuja. There have been clashes in recent times around the border of the two states over the ownership of an oil-rich community. But after the meeting, the two state governments are convinced that the dispute would soon end.
We are making a lot of progress. Under the direction of Mr. President, the Boundary Commission is tracing the boundary between the affected states in our area, and by the grace of God, by the end of this year, all these issues will be behind.
And I'm quite pleased with the meeting and the way the Vice President carried out the meeting. He basically gave directives to the National Boundary Commission to set a date to do all the necessary surveys and establish the boundary between us and the Kogi state. And I believe in the near future things will be sorted out.
The federal government has lifted the ban placed on residency training at all federal hospitals nationwide. It had also ordered the reinstatement of all resident doctors who were disengaged as a result of the action. Health Minister Onyebuchi Chukwu says all chief medical directors and medical directors of the training centers have been directed to issue letters of reinstatement to the resident doctors to enable them resume work immediately. He, however, added that the appraisal of the residency program is still ongoing with a view to making it better. It will be recorded that a few days after calling off the nationwide strike, the doctors had complained that government had not withdrawn the suspension circular. It's CoreTV News on the hour. More stories after this break. Stay with us.
One continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united with similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
Outside Nigeria now, British Prime Minister David Cameron has urged Scottish people to reject independence in a rare speech in Glasgow, in which he says their argued union is a strong economic advantage. Cameron said the union between Scotland and England is the greatest merger in history as he addressed a conference of the Confederation of British Industry in Glasgow. Most opinion polls currently suggest the proposal, which would end more than 300 years of union with the rest of the United Kingdom, is set to be rejected.
That brought our nations together in 1707, the greatest merger in history. 3 centuries on, our union and our prosperity are still closely bound. Business could become tougher, trade could become more costly and complex, jobs could become harder to find. So my case is this: our single market is one of our union's greatest advantages. If we stay together, Scottish businesses have better opportunities, Scottish consumers have more choice, Scottish people have more secure jobs. Why put all those great advantages at risk by going into the great unknown? In a fast-moving world, with the rise of new economies in China, Malaysia, Brazil, size does matter. That size, the sheer scale of our union, gives Scottish businesses a government that fights for them around the globe. I would argue in Scottish business today you have the best of both worlds.
The United Nations says the conflict in eastern Ukraine has killed nearly 2,600 people since mid-April, saying the sharp increase is as a result of fighting in densely populated areas between Kiev's army and pro-Russian rebels.
The current number of killed is 2,593 confirmed deaths, which is close to 3,000 if we include the 298 victims of the MH17 plane crash, which we especially disturbing is the alleged increase in participation of foreign fighters in hostilities.
That wraps it this hour on CoreTV News. We'll be back at 11 o'clock with more stories. The Dailies is coming up next. Stay with us.